It was
People are
very
really
obnoxious.
interested in.
So from
Get
early
the notification. So you can close this, you get a notification for
Yeah, I just
Seen
did.
it
Expo, right? Okay,
Okay.
great. Yeah, so you can copy this link, send to Isaac and to Gloria.
Okay.
If you send to me too, I'll be able to join.
All right.
They used to pay fine on anybody that eats on the program. You have to pay fine. And since we are not sharing, all right, good. So so we are live now. So Gloria, send the link again. Share it.
Just share it on my wall.
Yeah, share it on your wall.
Go ahead and do that, because if I disconnect this, I may have
Okay,
problems.
I will just share. and connect and tag you.
Yeah. Oh, probably because if I touch anything here now, it's going to affect
Okay.
that.
Okay, that's out. Tag. Oh, just a minute, and we'll be here. To all our viewers following us, thank you for your patience. We appreciate you. We're just having some technical difficulties, but we're perfecting it. Yes, I must thank you again, viewers all over the world, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya, the US, Italy, Dubai, China, and if you're in any country, I didn't mention your country, please, you are very much appreciated, especially the people we have in-house now, Gloria, Barrister Gloria Ballatson, and Barrister Patrick Ejiofor, also a director, a former director.
Mike.
Pardon?
Mike Ejiofor. Yes.
Mike Ejiofor. I'm seeing Patrick Ejiofor here. That's why. Yeah, so Mike Ejiofor. Yes, a former director with the DSS. So we've been talking about the NSAS, the disbandment or the dissolvement of the SARS. So I would just like to start with you. You made mention that because we were chatting when we were offline, you made mention that you think that the government, or rather the IG, was a little bit hasty in dissolving the SARS, and that there were some steps that they should have taken. And you also highlighted that there could be a spike in crime. We would like to understand why you said all these things, and we hope you have the stats. If not, some people will just be feeling, is this director a prophet of doom, or is he wishing doom for Nigeria?
Well, there's no way I have served this country for 35 years. I retired 10 years ago. So I'm a true Nigerian. I've served virtually in all parts of the country. I wish this country well, but we must also say the truth when it's necessary and absolutely necessary. What I'm saying is that the government was stampeded into taking a very hasty decision, not well thought out. I would have thought that the first thing government should have done is say, let us withdraw the SARS as part of the NSAS, not outright proscription. Because the criminals too are studying, like you said, Gloria there, is a psychologist. The psychology of the people and of the criminals matter a lot. When they know that this thing is no more, the SARS is no more in place, they have been proscribed or banned, the next thing they do is to go to the street and there will be a spike. So it's a top secret matter that shouldn't have come out. Now, if government is considering putting up another structure similar to SARS and involved in checking of violent crimes like robbery, kidnapping, how are we sure that the same people that we brought in are not going to be involved in the same activities of SARS. So that's what I'm saying, that government should have thought out this. They were stampeded because there was a lot of demonstration, protests all over the country. And that shows that equally that government is reacting to the people, to the people's yearnings. But
answer, I think I want to, for me, that is where I see it. I don't know what Gloria thinks, but Gloria, I think I'm basing my interpretation or my appreciation of what the government did based on what I've had in the balance of the legal balance that says that for an innocent man to go to prison or to be wrongly persecuted, you know, it's better for criminals to escape. I don't know how, but is that correct?
Better for 99 people to be left than for one innocent person to be held down.
Yes. So, sir, I'm looking at it this way. Now we know that these SARS people are trying to weed out, sieve out these criminals, you know, who lives amongst us, especially the Yahoo boys, which are the cyber criminals, you know. But it seems largely that in the process of doing that, innocent people have been victimized, and it happens continuously. So shouldn't the government look on the side of the people and take this decision? And maybe in the event, I'm coming, sir, and maybe in the event they will have the cooperation of the community, they have the cooperation of the society, and the criminals, you know, will be stamped right from the roots of the society. This is my thinking. I don't know how you see it, Gloria.
Let's look at it. The SARS veered completely from his core mandate, which was to check violent crime.
Okay, there, right?
Like robbery and kidnapping.
On your own spot where you see Topoh.
You just, how can you see somebody on the street because he's wearing dreadlock or he has a phone? You say bring, you are infringing on the person's rights. So they veered. If they had remained focused on their core mandate, we wouldn't have had the problem we're having. The problem is that they veered completely off from their core mandate. Going to so many things, going to Yahoo. Yahoo is a vice. It's not the best of things, but it's the least of our problem. I say that Yahoo is the least of our problem because people, most people who are duped by Yahoo are greedy people. You tell me, you go online, tell me I invest 100 naira to get 200 naira in 45 minutes. How do you justify it?
But also, even if they are greedy, it is not justification for a criminal to take advantage of a certain sentiment, you know, of a certain weakness of anybody.
That's what I'm saying. That is my thinking. I'm not justifying it. I said I'm not justifying it.
Yeah, just so our viewers get it clear.
It was not set up for Yahoo. The SARS was set up for violent crimes like robbery and kidnapping. How many people have been arrested? They were just busy killing people extrajudicially. You see somebody you shoot on the street, you subject them to dehumanizing condition. Is that their mandate? So even if you bring another structure today, in replacement of SARS, without streamlining and defining their core functions, we're still going to have the same problem. Like I said, this is not the first or second time that is being prescribed.
Okay, let me take, Gloria, I want to take your opinion on the issue that Oga has said. He said the government was a little bit hesitant. And that might have some implications.
Okay. You know, unfortunately, the citizens do not trust the government because they have not seen that there is clear commitment to resolve the issue of police brutality. And I'll tell you something. In 2018, there was the Tony Ojukwu Presidential Committee on Police Reform that was set up. I appeared before that committee, and I appeared for the case of the cook of then Gombe State Governor, who was killed because television sets were stolen in the house. And the guy who went to report this incident was held down and beaten to death without even an investigation taking place. And there were all of these kind of cases that appeared before the committee. It is 2020, it is October. Where is the report of that committee? None. Before now, like Mr. Mike said, there was all of the talk around SARS reform. It has been prescribed before. We're probably here having this conversation for the fourth time. And that's why even today, although the government has announced that it has dissolved SARS, there are still Nigerians out on the streets. Because what they are saying is, if you have dissolved it, it's like putting salt in water. You dissolve salt in water. You're not going to say that salt has gone away. You have just moved it from one location of being solid to another location of being liquid, which speaks to what Mr. Ejiofor was saying earlier on, that the need for the reform must be clear. Now, before now, those who were recruited in the Nigerian police force in the 80s and in the early 90s will tell you that the recruitment process is different from what you have now. People who cannot pass WAEC, who cannot pass JAM, are the ones who politicians will have big slots. 20 people from my village come and enter the police force. And these people are not properly trained. They do not even understand the basics of what is required of policing. Because you see, policing is not a place for no-do-wells. It is a place where you should have the very best of the people looking out for the rest of us. That is not the situation you have now. And so, like I said earlier on, NSAS is a metaphor. Nigerians are saying there is a need for police reform. And we're not going to go out of those streets until we see clarity in that reform. So the citizens have brought out a 5-point agenda. First, they want that all those people who have been arrested because of this protest should be released. And I think it's a fair demand. If we claim that the Constitution is the supreme law and there is a right to freedom to assembly, then politicians or government officials cannot sit down and in their own wisdom assume that, oh, they should ban protesters. What you should ban is a situation of criminality. But if you have citizens coming out to articulate in one voice to say, this is what we do not want, the idea, the proper thing that should happen is for the government to say, okay, come, let us reason together. Now, policing is not supposed to be an armed, how do I put it? It's not supposed to be an armed forces in that strict sense of what it's supposed to be something that is more civilian than it is combatant. So you're supposed to have a situation where the police is policing with the people and not at the people. Right now, in the lifetime of any Nigerian, they are likely to face two kinds of police. One is a conscientious policeman who will do his work according to law and order. The other one is the one who extorts, who bribes, who will declare the innocent suspects guilty. And many Nigerians are saying that they have met more of these policemen who will do wrong than those who will do right. And let me say something quite clearly and simply. You know, in our various cultures, there is a sad saying, and there is a way that perception becomes reality when it is not checked. So people would say in various communities that when your person has joined the police force, you have lost him. I'll let that sink in. Now, what does the person was, and I'm sure Isaac, you know what this is. And
I'm sure even Oga Mike understands that. He must have heard it. Yeah, that once somebody is a policeman, you know that he's no longer your friend.
Exactly.
But they say police is your friend.
That's why you people tell us, sir.
What happens is that there is something for the police behavior in the police force. A right, clear-minded individual who has the sense of right and wrong moves into the Nigerian police force. And at the beginning, he still maintains that right and wrong. But because the colleagues he has met in the workplace are acting in a certain manner, his sense of judgment becomes gradually eroded and then becomes impaired. And he thinks that there is a police way to behave so that the people will be afraid of you, so that you can have power and authority, and people will not take you for granted. Now, once that happens, the person now who entered the police with a sense of right and wrong becomes someone who becomes part of the problem and not the solution. So the issue about this NSAS is that Nigerians are calling for clarity between right and wrong.
By the decay.
Accountability, that there's a need for people who have powers to be accountable for the powers that has been given. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah,
I can hear you. I'm here, Gloria.
All right, so this is why this is important. And like I made the point earlier on, it's important for the police not to see it as if the citizens are against them. No. Any policeman who has served 5 years, 2 years, 10 years knows what the problems are. So let us come together, and I'm sure we are all agreed that there is a problem. And if we are agreed that there is a problem, then that brings us to the point of saying, now that we have a problem, how do we want to go about the solution?
Good. So that is talking about the reforms now.
Go through it one after the other. Last week, I had a conversation with a DIG who retired only last year. And he said to me, the issue around reform has become such a stale conversation because government after government, they talk about police reform. Now, who is responsible for this police reform? You have listened to Mr. Ejiofor talk about how there was very high hopes for this IG. And that unfortunately, the hopes that we have hasn't quite become a reality. And then you have a presidency that came on a groundswell of body language, will change things, will do drama, it will change raw egg into boiled eggs. That has not translated. So the people now have become so impatient with the system, and they're saying, look, we gave you an opportunity to do the right reforms. You have not done it. Now we are going to move you to make those reforms. So now that we're at that critical point of getting to one space where we must have the reform, let us agree that the recruitment process of the Nigerian police must change. Before now, they used to have a case where they used to do what they call a pay parade, and policemen will line up to collect their salaries. So if you committed any crime, there are some that you will be deducted from your salary, and there were certain actions that will be taken. But now it's an all-comers affair. Policemen who will not even show up for duty, and yet they will be paid. Policemen who will be absent, and yet they will be paid. You even have a situation, even for the promotion, there is no sense of monitoring, because aside from the recruitment, there is also the monitoring. In every organization, whatever you don't monitor, you cannot pay. So even if you recruit the right people and they meet up with the bad people, because you are not monitoring these gradual changes and this gradual breakdown in values, then you're going to have a situation where these things will escalate. There is no monitoring process. Part of this is the way the police is structured. You have one IGP supervising over 300,000 policemen, which is unlike the military.
But he has police commissioners, Gloria. He has police commissioners. He has deputy police commissioners.
They have to take instructions from the IGP. There is only one central command of the Nigerian police force. It's different from the army, where you have the chief of Navy staff, you have the chief of defense staff, the chief of air. So it's different. It has been structured, and you see that the police, they have different supervisors. So you report to this person who reports to that person who reports. So there's a chain of command. In the Nigerian police force, you don't quite have that. So these are the areas of reform. One, recruitment, the second, monitoring. And even now, as we speak, what is the Nigerian police force doing about those who err? And we speak about this, not just the Nigerian police, but for every security agency. You don't just say at the highest, we are going to send the person out, we're going to dismiss the person. Dismissing the person doesn't solve any issue. If the person has committed the crime of murder in uniform, then he's a murderer. The uniform does not insulate him from the fact that murder attracts what? Murder as penalty. If he has stolen in uniform, then he's a thief. The uniform does not insulate him. If he has been an armed robber, whatever he has done in uniform, the laws speak the same thing to him when he's in mufti as when he's in uniform. So let the Nigerian police force take the courage to look inwards into itself and say, look, this is a time where we need to get this right. And let them give a time for those who do not deserve to be there. Let them be flushed out so that the real policemen who want to do the work can do their work, and then their work will be made easier.
Yes, okay. You have heard that she has dissected. I'm a bit surprised at the amount of knowledge she knows about the police, as if she has been a police officer herself. But of course, she has been working around security people in the NDA, and she just said she has helped in designing some policies for the police. Yeah. So where do we start? Because Gloria has really painted a dark picture about the police.
I agree entirely with what Gloria said. The police, as is structured now, will never be effective. When you have a central control from Abuja, the security is all about participatory, everybody getting involved. Now, you talk of governors, I'll give you instances. The governor is the chief security officer of the state. He cannot take, the commissioner of police cannot take instructions from him until he clears from the IG in Abuja. Meanwhile, things are going wrong. Yeah. So that's why I have also been emphasizing on restructuring the police, not just restructuring the police, but also amending our constitution to accommodate state police. Our police as a structure will never be effective. I'll give you an example. You take somebody from Sokoto State, from desert area or from Borno, and you send to Bayelsa, where there is water. First of all, you have culture shock. There's language barrier, a different religion. People will never have confidence in you to even volunteer information. So that's one of the first challenges we have. And I have suggested in various interviews I've been granted. In the interim, since we cannot amend our constitution, you recall about 1985, when the military president, Babangida, came with a structure. The rank and file of the police should be posted to their zones where they understand the language, where the commissioner of police and senior officers who will be supervising them can be brought in from another place. But when you bring these people and, for instance, you say, post some people are buying posting to go to the southeast. Why? Not because of commercial data. They buy posting to Lagos, they buy posting to southeast, where they will make money. You travel with all kinds of problems. Traveling now becomes horror on the road. But if you come up north here, because the roads are there, you don't have, between Okene and Ukwila in Edo State, you have over 11 checkpoints. And what are these people doing? Busy looking at papers, extorting money, and on those roads with all those checkpoints, you still get cases of kidnapping every day. So we need to get the people involved. And how do you get the people involved when they don't have confidence in the police? So we need, first of all, to build the confidence of the people with the police to say, yes, this is our police. I'm not saying
how do we do that, sir?
I'm not saying that we don't have good policemen. We have good policemen because if you look at it, when they go out of this country, Nigerian military and the policemen are just the best in terms of performance. So it's the environment with which you have the police. There's no way you see an American police operating bring an American policeman to Nigeria, you'll be corrupted because of the environment. But when we go out there, because the facilities are there, our people excel. There's no, like I said before, recruitment process is faulty. There's no welfare, adequate welfare. There's no training. There's no motivation. So all these things combined, you don't go and plant cocoyam and expect to get a mango. It's not possible.
So, sir, sir, at this junction,
yes.
At this junction, what do we do to get it right? Because this is a junction that we have come now. At least the government has shown however their decision would have been, at least the members of the public feel some level of appeasement that our government is listening to us. So at this junction now, how do we fix it? How do we fix this problem? You both have identified monitoring, whereby officers, policemen are supposed to be monitored, and performances will be used as a way of reward, which is promotion, right? Training. Yes. How do we get them properly trained? You know, and also recruitment. So we can start from the recruitment. Although you also said something about community policing.
If you talk of recruitment now, if you talk of recruitment, what do we do with the people who are already there? Political talks recruited in the name of the police. I'm talking of political talk. How do you explain that you say they will recruit policemen, then you look at politicians and give them slots? Who are they going to bring? People who assisted them in coming to power. And when they are recruited, they are posted to them as oddlists. And they go about with them. So where are you going to? Another major problem the police has, which I have also been emphasizing, is that the former IG, who incidentally was the immediate past chairman of the Police Service Commission, came out and told, well, between 120 and 150,000 policemen attached to VIPs in a country that is facing a lot of security challenges. So where do you start from? Let's forget the issue of SARS. Much as I agree that it's a problem, the police needs to be sanitized, the entire police force. Because we have a IRT, or what do they call it? Our IG response squad. You have so many names going on. We need to streamline all these things and bring them together. Coordinate. They are so uncoordinated that the problems, you can't even, the Police Service Commission, as we speak, is in court.
You are making me scared, though, because as a police officer, as a former police officer yourself, you know, these things that you're saying, you know, I mean, some of us don't even know that this is the magnitude of the problem inside.
No, if you are scared,
we don't even know that this is the
Controvert the points I've made. Controvert the points I've made. You need to see. I am not saying. Of course, the picture must be painted so that we know that we have a lot of security challenges, which the government must tackle. You also recall that this government came on the mantra of security. What is our security situation as we speak? Yeah. Is it better now or getting worse?
Worse.
So we must face reality. You call a spade, not just a dignity. If we continue to play the ostrich and say we don't have security challenges, then we'll have a problem. A problem once identified is half solved. But if you don't know the cause of your problem, there's no way you can solve your problem.
Exactly. I agree totally. So let's talk about solving the problems. I would like to start from recruitment, because it seems that is at the first point where we probably, if we get it wrong at that point, it has multiple implications. How do we recruit the Nigerian police? How do we advise this government? How do we advise this IG to commence recruitment?
Well, you see, for recruitment process, we have what is called vetting. That is screening to know the person's background before he joins the force. But with our politicians, it is on record that the State Security Service wrote a report on the acting chairman of the EFCC, recommending that the man should not be confirmed. What did the government do? The man was left acting because he cannot be removed for political considerations. So it's not that the government is not aware of some of it, but does the government have the political will to tackle some of these problems? Are we saying that our problems have not been identified? So it's going to be difficult at this point to say the recruitment process must be sanitized. The politicians will not allow that.
But again, we can't. But again, sir, I think at every point in time, there are opportunities, there are openings to get it right. So I want to look at what has happened in regards to this SARS now as an opportunity, as a junction where we can begin to attempt to make conscious attempts to fix the situation. And Gloria, I like. Pardon?
What we have in this country, we don't have strong institutions. We need to build our institutions. The IG cannot take certain decisions now for fear of losing his seat. But if they have that independence to say, yes, I'll take a decision without looking at any political leader or political leadership, so we need to strengthen our institutions by securing the tenure of the IG or some of this.
Okay, let me go this way. Gloria, today, if you are made the IG of police, what are the things that you would like to see done to reform the police?
That's an interesting question, because I was going to say to you that the person who mans the office comes with so much promise, or he comes with so much destruction. Now, the reason why an IG will not do his work is not because he doesn't have the independence, it's because he has not appropriated the powers given to him by the Constitution for that office. Because you see, people need to be able to separate their personal alliances with what the requirements of their job are. Now, Mr. Ejiofor asked a question initially, what do you do with the people who are already there? And I will modify that question to say, what do you do with the people who are already there, who do not have to be there, or who should not be there? Simple, you take them away. I lead an organization. Sometimes the people who are recruited do not meet up with the requirements. And what I always tell the human resources team is, I want to see the work you have done. If after 3 months, the person has not done well, then you know you cannot confirm him. If he, however, beats the system and continues, and at some point he hasn't done well, and you have issued him with queries and he's not satisfied, then the thing to do is to show him the way out. There are no sentiments to this. If we want to build a system, we have to build a system. We cannot build a system by sentiment. We cannot build a sentiment by opinion. We must build a system by a clarity of what is right and what is wrong. Now, when you compare the Nigerian police force with the Nigerian army, for instance, you see that there is more hope with the Nigerian army. And why is that? Because they take their vetting process a bit more seriously. Right now, they have been able to recalibrate their system. People who do not meet the requirements, there are less of them who are going in there. For the vetting system, and those in the security service as well as the police, and those who were employed in the early 80s and 90s, they know it. Before you were given that job, they will go to your village and try to find out who are you relating with. In the secret service, they will even want to know who did you marry, and they'll make this background check. Why do they do that? They don't want to get the wrong person in. The same way that the bank does know your customer, you want to be sure that the person who you are dealing with is the right person that you should be dealing with. How much more an institution as serious as the Nigerian police force? We need to know the people who are wearing those uniforms. Are they armed robbers? Are they thieves? Are they kidnappers? Because you heard a short while ago incidences around security service people themselves being kidnapped. It was in this country that we had a situation where a former chief of army staff was gunned down. You can't have that kind of killing without a certain level of collaboration. Even the kidnapping situation that we have in this our country, it cannot happen in the fluidity that it happens if you don't have men of the security force. Now, and that is why I said earlier on that you see this conversation around police reform right now is not a conversation that should be had only by Nigerians. So the Nigerian police themselves who are there, who are doing the right job, they should come out and join the citizens and say, no, we are no longer going to tolerate a situation where the bad eggs will make our job difficult, where the bad eggs will endanger the citizens. It's ironic that the citizens are saying to themselves, look, we feel safer without you than with you, which is a problem. So in terms of the recruitment, the vetting needs to be done. And even now, those who are there who should not be there, they should be flushed out. If we have the right people left, if those who are flushed out want to go and regroup and do wrong, those right people in the Nigerian police force will ensure that they stop them in their own tracks. Then in terms of monitoring,
is that the safest thing to do? Is that just a minute, Gloria? Because you actually even went ahead to even try to address it. Because I was thinking, you sack all these people in their large numbers, they will constitute a nuisance. Would we have the capacity, Oga, to control them? Those people that if they are sacked today, they are left without jobs. The most probability we can think now is that they will go and become a nuisance. Why don't we have them in the system and rehabilitate them?
No, it's not going to work. If somebody is bad, you bring him out from the system, because the tendency for them to corrupt the good ones are still there. But like you said, the fear is there that they'll go into criminality. But if we have effective policing, those people will be fished out too as they get involved in other crimes. The fact remains that our police structure is too centralized. If we have the community policing, which is also different from the state police, and you know the people living in your community, you should be able to identify who is this, what does he do? Is it the kind of person that when people are going to work, he's sleeping, then at night he goes out? Who will go and report to police? They will tell you, no, if I go and report to the police, they will not come here a suspect. So it becomes a double jeopardy for both the community members and the police. But again, there are checks on such issues. People have been saying we don't want to volunteer information. I am aware that the police has some online where you can volunteer information to the police without physically going there, because that's the fear most people have. So you can use something, but going to senior officers, very senior. Are you not aware that some policemen have been executed for armed robbery in the 85? Somebody like Ejiofor. So these are Nigerians who have criminals within the society. We cannot take them in isolation. So what I'm saying is that we need to look inward and sanitize, bring out the bad eggs,
and weed them out.
Weed them out if they refuse to conform. There's no two ways of saying, let us see if they can change. A criminal is a criminal. I'm not a psychologist. You can ask Gloria. So for some criminals, they are inborn. Is in their gene. Some acquire this through association. So a lot of, we need to sanitize our police. Like I said, I expected a lot from this IG.
So we have agreed that we should the Nigerian police as a way is to try and weed out the bad eggs amongst them, because I have a police a cousin of mine who is a policeman. He does a very wonderful job.
Exactly.
His standards are very high. He's incorruptible. So I know from that point that there are good policemen, there are honest policemen, that are committed to their cause. In fact, he chose to become a policeman. It was not like he graduated and was looking for work and didn't get work. He said he wanted to become a policeman. We have the example of the son of the emir of the former emir of Kano. You know, his son went to the police academy and is now a policeman. I want to believe that is by choice. So yes, we can weed these people out. So that is that for then we do vetting. We vet people, we check their backgrounds before we bring them in. How about the issue that some governors, some senators, some House of Rep people will be allocated slots? What do we do with that, Gloria?
That should be done away with.
How do we do that?
It's very easy. You see, Isaac, and I have to say something. In moving for reform, you either choose to be ruled by your fears or you choose to be ruled by reason. To tell you the truth, this issue about police reform is not even rocket science at all. Anybody who has led a business, and that's why I gave you an example of the organization where I lead. You have different people in different strata. Is the person doing the job right? You allow him. The person who is not doing the job right, you ease him out. So the same way, even if you have a situation where these people come with their numbers, have they met the criteria? The process is the process, and everybody must be able to respect that process, whether he is a candidate of the senator, the candidate of the president, or the candidate of the vice president, wherever they're coming from. If they don't meet the criteria of joining the Nigerian police force, then you don't let them get in. Now, let me say something about the how Nigerians work. You see, it's not as if Nigerians just decided to be angry at the police, because I communicate with a lot of policemen. I've seen a lot of them getting defensive, including Saturday when I had a DSP call me and he was getting all defensive. It was in this same country that we saw a situation like CP Wakil in Kano State. He did such a great job that Nigerians themselves came out and they were celebrating him all over, and they were recommending him for the job of the EFCC. He does not have a godfather or a godmother, but he had a god people behind him, a people who had seen the work that he had done, who said, look, this man has what it takes to lead the system. Now, your 21st century police cannot be the analog police that we have always operated in, because many of the crimes now, they have moved online. So you have to ask yourself, do you want a visual police or you want a virtual police? It seems to me that right now the kind of police we want is a virtual police along with community policing. So you have a virtual police where the SARS move online. That is where you actually check issues of kidnapping and crimes, because it's, again, in this country where they ask everybody to register their SIM card, and yet we have the number of kidnappers that we are having, because the police are in the wrong place. They are on the street when they should be online. So let us have, we're speaking to solutions now. We have virtual policing or an escalation to virtual policing. Virtual policing means you have CCTV, you have cameras in different places. If a crime is happening in Ondo now, in Kaduna, you can, by the click of the button, you see what is happening and you coordinate those on ground to move into that place and to zero in on the suspect. And then you have community policing where the people can trust the police. So the trust deficit between the public and the police now is a real issue that needs to be worked on. And even that can be cured. In this country, we had a situation where Dora Akunyili was going around this country and she was talking about the rebranding project. She was talking about Don't Badmouth Nigeria. Even me, I became her convert. At some point, Nigerians were hopeless. But when you hear a thing over and over again, it begins to register in you and talks to you about possibility. So this is what the Nigerian police must do. Its publicity unit must be able to wake up. The National Orientation Agency must be able to band up and show that, look, they are willing to work. Right now, we're talking about NSAS, and the Nigerian people have made 5 classic demands, which is not a lot. One, they're saying that all protesters who have been arrested should be released. And I think that they should be released because it's the right thing to do. Second, they're saying that all victims of SARS should find justice, which is only fair. The Nigerian police force may not be able to find justice for all, but if you can demonstrate to the Nigerian people that you have goodwill, the Nigerian people will begin to trust you. 3, they are saying that, oh, the welfare of the Nigerian police should be improved. Now, you see, this welfare thing cannot only be a magic bullet. There are people today who are hungry. Why are they not fucking guns? It's because they understand right and wrong. There was a time when the police were not even paid half as they were paid even now, but they were still working. So while we talk about improving the welfare, getting their barracks better, because even their living conditions needs to be improved, you also have to teach side by side the fact that, look, police, there is something called right and wrong. There is something called conscience. there is something called public morality. We in Nigeria, we claim that we are spiritual people or people of faith. What does your faith tells you about killing somebody or about conferring guilt on the innocent and making the guilty innocent? There is nothing, very few things are as dreadful as that kind of a thing. So we must begin to talk about this. Again, even in terms of the psychology, you see, there are many policemen who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. It happens in the army. It happens with security agents. Where are the psychologists who are attending to these people? They see dreadful things and they need to be, you need to rework them to get them back to the place of sanity. But we have slots for this in the agencies and we don't have a lot of the work being done. Right now, it is a call that reform to put the psychological needs of the Nigerian tended to. In every police station, you even have psychologists who are taking care of them. Then, when you have votes for the Nigerian police force, there must be monitoring to ensure that what has been voted by the National Assembly gets to the endpoint. Today, you have many police stations where the police are the ones who have to look for the writing materials. You see a police station, it has not been fenced. You see a police station dilapidated. And we have heard in this country many times where police stations are attacked. Of course, they will be attacked if it is so porous and the marauders can attack it. There are security, there are votes for this. So the votes for the Nigerian police should be followed up right to the point. It shouldn't be distributed to have to pay for the things that they shouldn't be paying for. And especially in the Southeast and the South, where the NSAS movement is moving very swiftly, there is a reason for it. Mr. Ejiofor spoke about when you're traveling, once you leave there was a video that made the rounds of a policeman who even had a POS, asking people, okay, if you don't have, you
bring your ATM card.
And they even give change.
And they even give change.
And they even give change. Honestly.
Yeah.
These things are dreadful. Now, on those roads, you shouldn't have policemen and you have they are extorting people, kidnappers are kidnapping the people. Oh my goodness. So
it's too much.
It's too much.
It's too much on the people. It's too much on the people. It's too much.
There is a coordinated chorus around it's not that they have so suffered. People everywhere from the north, the south, the east, and the west, they are coming out and they are saying enough is enough. And they have their dreadful stories. They're not hallucinating, they are telling you what happened to them.
Yeah, I think the NSAS is a manifestation of all this frustration and all this suffering. And the good thing here is that Mr. Mike Ejiofor is a former police officer, and I still believe that he still have this police spirit in him. He still have SP record in him, and he still have some channels where he can speak to his colleagues who are still in the system or to his juniors who are still in the system. Sir, this community, I know you want to respond to some things, but my own is that, let me ask you, this community policing that we are talking about, and it seems it's dear to you. Our fear is that the governors will politicize it. The governors can use it to fight their political enemies. Our fear is that maybe a president cannot even go to a governor state, because if him and the government are in opposing party, he can use the police, to cause problems. How viable can we have this community police work?
You see, the fear is unfounded.
It's unfounded.
It's unfounded because we have not given it a trial, one. And two, is the present Nigerian police not being abused by the federal authorities?
Well, we can say yes, but we can say that is from one channel. But if we have these abuses from 36 other channels, can we deal with it?
There are ways of checking abuses. If my rights are abused, I have the option of going to court to enforce my rights. You see, the argument that the state police, if you weigh the two, the two options. Do away with the state police or community policing and face the security challenges of people being killed on daily basis. Which one is better? Because
I rather take on the challenges.
The governor will own the police. Don't forget also that the governor who is ruling in a party, the whole state, does not belong to one political party. We have multi-party system in this country. So when the governor says, do we need people to force the president to say, okay, we are banning SARS? If a governor is abusing the right of people, the citizens will also rise to say, no, we don't want this. We cannot tolerate this. So we must give it a try. You know, there are differences. People don't understand. The difference between community policing and state police. The Nigerian police, as it's constituted now, if they build the confidence on the people, can practice community policing by engaging and getting the people involved in the activity by volunteering information. But the state police is a standing force, and there's no way we can get the state police without amending our constitution. Go from here till tomorrow. There is no way our security challenges will be solved without restructuring the present police and security architecture.
Tell us, Oga.
Yeah.
Open up that conversation. We really want to understand that.
Well, the point I'm making
how is the current political police security architecture a hindrance to the efficiency of security in Nigeria?
I've highlighted it before. You take somebody from Sokoto to Delta, or from Delta to Borno, you have language barrier. So how are you going to communicate? That is one. You have religious differences. Don't forget that Nigeria is a multi-ethnic society. You will not communicate, and there was the general tendency for, no, this man is an Hausa man. This man is an Igbo man. If it comes to that confidence, Nigeria is so much divided that for now, we need to build that cohesion, build the country, bring the country together. If we don't come together, there is no way we can solve these security challenges. So we need to decentralize our security and security architecture in the country. Just like people have been clamoring for restructuring, whatever that one means.
Yeah.
Now, there's a problem on ground. You're talking of the mineral resources belong, everything in the land on the land belongs to the federal government. And in the same breath, some people are exploring their own gold and selling. There's no equity. There's no justice. There's no fairness. And for us to move forward and get out of all these challenges, there must be fairness. There must be political will to take certain decisions by government, irrespective of whose ox is God. But when you look at issues from primordial sentiments, ethnic background, political leanings, religious background, will continue to be in a vicious circle and will not make any progress. On that note, I think our problems as Nigerians will be solved. And I want to beg that I take a leave. Thank you.
Yes. I remember. In fact, we need to appreciate you on behalf of my colleague. You said you were going to spend just 15-20 minutes, and we've taken even more than an hour from you. We appreciate you for the time that you have given us. Please see this as Gloria is here for the second time. We pride ourselves to say that this platform has access to a lot of Nigerians, even more than the traditional medias. So sir, we would want you at any point in time, feel free to come. Even if you have a suggestion, a topic that we have not talked about, you can come forward, and we would love to have your experience shared here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Gloria, nice talking to you too.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's been nice, Mr. Ejiofor. For just a quick modification before you go, I think it's very risky to put powers in the hands of politicians. So, what I would suggest in terms of that reform is like just like you have the army, they will have one div in a certain state and all that. We should have that kind of abuse power. So if we give them the armed powers again, it makes it difficult. But I think that the Nigerian police force can actually restructure itself state by state without the politicians and put people there and co-work with the citizens, and things can be better. So there is hope. There is hope, and I
I
believe
like
that
that.
hope changes everything.
I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gloria. You can hang on, and we take some other issues if you have a little more time, or you want to run too.
I
All
want
right,
to run.
you want to run
Yeah.
too. All right, that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you people have been so gracious. You have been so patient with us. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. We hope that we'll reconvene here again to finish up on this issue, because there's a lot to really talk about in terms of Nigerian policy. But I think again that is a good thing that the Nigerian government has heard the cry of the people, the voice of the people, and have carried out this dissolvement. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Have
Thank
a
you.
very good night rest.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye bye to
Yeah.
everyone. Wow, that was good, Isaac. Okay, Gloria, I'm going to end the meeting now.
Oh, all right. That's good.
I have a good day.